You think you know what happened in the NFL draft? Think again. Former NFL coach Herm Edwards just pulled back the curtain on one of the most controversial draft slides in recent memory, and what he's revealing about Shedeur Sanders will make your blood boil. Picture this. You're one of the most dominant college quarterbacks in recent history. You've broken records, carried your team on your back, and proven yourself against elite competition. Draft day arrives, and you watch as team after team passes on you, not because of your arm strength, not because of your accuracy, not because of your football IQ, but because they're terrified of your last name. That's exactly what happened to Shedeur Sanders. And Edwards isn't just suggesting there was bias involved, he's flat out confirming it. Teams didn't evaluate Sanders based on football ability. They made billion-dollar decisions based on fear, politics, and cowardice. But here's the kicker. Edwards is now predicting that this fear is about to make every single one of those franchises look absolutely foolish. When Edwards says Sanders is going to beat them all out, he's not making a hopeful prediction, he's delivering a warning to the rest of the league. This isn't your typical rookie hype story. This is about a systematic failure of NFL front offices, a young man who got screwed over by league politics, and a Cleveland Browns organization that might have just stumbled into the steal of the century. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why certainty one NFL teams are about to regret one of the biggest evaluation failures in draft history. You'll see why Edwards, a man who's developed quarterbacks at the highest level, is staking his reputation on a prediction that could change everything. And you'll discover the 3 specific factors that make Sanders different from every other rookie quarterback entering the league this season. But first, let me tell you about the elephant in the room that nobody wants to discuss. Let's start with the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. The 2024 NFL draft was supposed to be loaded with quarterback talent. Yet somehow, Shedeur Sanders found himself sliding down draft boards while lesser talents got selected ahead of him. Edwards isn't dancing around this issue. He's exposing it with surgical precision. I think there's a lot that went into why he dropped so much, and I don't think it had anything to do with football, but other things that go along with football. Let that sink in for a moment. We're talking about NFL teams' billion-dollar organizations that claim to evaluate talent objectively, making personnel decisions based on factors that have absolutely nothing to do with a player's ability to play football. What were those other things Edwards is talking about? He doesn't sugarcoat it. I think the glare of who he is, who his father is. I think a lot of teams were hesitant, worried that they didn't want that in their locker room. Are you kidding me? NFL teams were afraid of Deion Sanders, one of the greatest athletes in sports history, a Hall of Famer who revolutionized multiple positions. Teams were scared of having that kind of football royalty associated with their franchise. Think about the absurdity of this situation. You have a quarterback who dominated at Colorado, who brought national attention to a program that was previously irrelevant, who performed under the brightest lights college football has to offer. Yet teams were more concerned about press conferences and media attention than actual football ability. This represents everything wrong with modern NFL decision-making. Instead of evaluating talent, teams were evaluating optics. Instead of asking, can this player help us win football games? They were asking, will this player create distractions? It's the kind of short-sighted thinking that keeps bad franchises bad and allows smart organizations to capitalize on others' mistakes. But here's where the story gets even more infuriating. Edwards has actually spent time around Sanders, has seen what he's really about behind all the social media noise and celebrity connection. His assessment completely destroys the narrative that teams were trying to sell themselves. When you meet the kid and you meet what he's about, he's a pro. He's a pro. He knows how to do things. He goes about it the right way. So let me get this straight. Teams passed on a consummate professional because they were afraid of media attention. They let talent slip through their fingers because they were worried about headlines and press coverage. This is exactly the kind of cowardice that allows smart organizations to find franchise-altering talent in unexpected places. The irony is delicious. While teams were worried about the distraction of having Deion Sanders' son on their roster, they completely missed the advantage that connection provides. But Edwards sees something these teams missed, and it's about to make them all look foolish. Here's what every NFL team that passed on Shedeur Sanders failed to understand. They weren't just evaluating a college quarterback. They were evaluating the product of a lifetime football education that most players could never access. Edwards makes this crystal clear when he talks about Sanders' unique preparation. This guy's been schooled since he was a little kid by his dad. He's been around it, he's seen it, he understands the mentality of it all. Most rookie quarterbacks spend their first year in the NFL learning concepts that Sanders has been absorbing since childhood. While other players are figuring out how to read defenses, Sanders has been watching his father break down film for years. But this goes far deeper than just having a famous football father. Edwards emphasizes something that should terrify every team that passed on Sanders. His father, maybe you can say one of the best athletes ever, played the game. When people look at Deion Sanders, and they don't know him, they don't understand Deion Sanders was one of the smartest football players who ever played a position. That intelligence is genetic. That football IQ has been passed down from father to son through countless hours of conversation, film study, and hands-on instruction. Sanders didn't just inherit athletic ability. He inherited a PhD-level understanding of professional football from one of the most cerebral players in NFL history. Think about what this means in practical terms. While other rookie quarterbacks are learning the basics of NFL offenses, Sanders is already thinking 3 steps ahead. While his competitors are figuring out how to handle blitzes, Sanders has been studying defensive schemes since he was in middle school. The gap in preparation and understanding is massive. Edwards has seen this firsthand. I've known him since he was a little kid. This isn't speculation or wishful thinking. This is an evaluation based on years of observation. Edwards has watched Sanders develop, has seen his football education unfold, understands the depth of knowledge that most people never get to witness. But here's the part that makes this advantage even more significant. Sanders has been around professional athletes his entire life. He's been in NFL locker rooms, has seen how the game works at the highest level, understands what it takes to earn respect from veteran players. Most rookies are intimidated by the professional environment. Sanders has been preparing for it since childhood. The mental aspect of quarterback play is often underestimated, but Edwards knows better. When he talks about Sanders' makeup and what he's all about, he's referring to the mental toughness and football intelligence that can't be taught in a few months of rookie minicamp. It's the product of a lifetime of preparation that gives Sanders an enormous advantage over every other quarterback in Cleveland's facility. This genetic football advantage is exactly why Edwards is so confident in his prediction. He's not just seeing potential, he's seeing the culmination of years of elite-level football education that's about to pay dividends at the professional level. Now let's talk about the absolute chaos that is Cleveland's quarterback situation, because what Edwards reveals about their roster will blow your mind. We're not talking about a normal competition between 2 or 3 players. Edwards drops a bombshell that changes everything. They got 5 quarterbacks. Not 3. They got 5. They got 5 of them. 5 quarterbacks competing for reps in a professional football practice setting. That's not a competition, that's complete madness. How do you even manage that many players at the most important position on the field? How do you give everyone enough opportunities to showcase their abilities when practice time is limited and every rep matters? Edwards acknowledges the challenge. There's only so many plays that you have allocated in professional football. You only have so many reps. It's not like college football, where you can stay out there for 3 hours with those kids. This is where coaching becomes crucial, where decisions have to be made, where the cream has to rise to the top. But here's where Edwards' insider knowledge becomes invaluable. He understands exactly how this evaluation process should work. If you have a young guy at the quarterback position, it's going to be critical that eventually he gets reps against the number 1 defense. How does he play against the ones? Not against other college players, not against free agent football players, but against the number 1s. This is insider knowledge that most fans never get to hear. There's a massive difference between looking good against scout team players and performing against legitimate NFL talent. Any quarterback can complete passes when the defense isn't trying to take his head off. The real test comes when you're facing players who are fighting for their own roster spots, who are trying to make a statement, who want to welcome the rookie to the NFL with a big hit. Edwards believes the preseason will be Sanders' coming out party. In the preseason, when you get the other team playing their ones on defense, you got to get those guys in the game. They got to go out there with the number 1 offensive line, and they got to go against the ones on defense. Picture that scenario for a moment. Sanders under center, first team protection, facing a legitimate NFL defense that's trying to make him look foolish. That's when all the college stats and combined numbers become irrelevant. That's when you find out if a player can actually handle the speed and physicality of professional football. And that's when Edwards expects Sanders to separate himself from every other quarterback in Cleveland's facility. When the lights come on, look out. I think he's going to do good. The chaos in Cleveland's quarterback room isn't a disadvantage for Sanders. It's an opportunity. While other rookies might be overwhelmed by the competition, Sanders has been preparing for this moment his entire life. The question isn't whether he can handle the pressure. It's whether the other 4 quarterbacks can handle competing against him. Here's what separates franchise quarterbacks from career backups. and it's something that can't be measured at the combine or evaluated in college film study. Edwards cut straight to the heart of what really matters when evaluating rookie quarterbacks. When you walk into the huddle, you want to see that rookie quarterback control that huddle. When they break the huddle, do the guys in the huddle trust him? Do they trust the quarterback, especially a young guy? Do they trust him? This is about leadership, about commanding respect from veterans who have been in the league for years. It's about walking into a room full of grown men who are fighting for their careers and convincing them that you're the guy who can help them win football games. For a 22-year-old kid, that's an enormous challenge that destroys most rookie quarterbacks before they even get started. Most rookies are intimidated by veteran players, afraid to speak up, worried about making mistakes that might cost them credibility. They tiptoe around the locker room, defer to older players, and hope that their performance on the field will eventually earn them respect. But that approach rarely works because respect in the NFL isn't given, it's taken. Sanders has a massive advantage in this area that most people don't understand. He's been around professional athletes his entire life. He's been in NFL locker rooms, has seen how the game works at the highest level, understands what it takes to earn respect from older players. While other rookies are learning how to navigate professional relationships, Sanders already speaks the language. Edwards emphasizes just how crucial this aspect of the evaluation will be. Can he lead the team? Can he lead a veteran group of guys? This is a 3-14 team. Veterans, when you're a veteran guy, your clock's ticking. You might have another year or two, and you don't want to go through another 3-14 season. Think about being in that position as a veteran player. You're 28, 29, maybe 30 years old. Your body is starting to wear down, your contract situation is uncertain, and you're watching your prime years slip away on a losing team. Then some rookie walks in and tells you he's going to be the difference maker. You're going to test that kid. You're going to see if he wilts under pressure, if he can handle adversity, if he has the mental toughness to lead men who have been through battles that he can't even imagine. Most rookies fail that test. Most young quarterbacks get overwhelmed by the responsibility and the expectation. But Edwards seems to believe Sanders is different, that he has something special that will allow him to not just survive, but thrive in that environment. Whoever that quarterback is, you're going to know if those guys trust you and they want to play for him. You're going to figure that out real fast. The leadership test is where Sanders will either prove he's ready for the NFL or reveal that he needs more development. Based on Edwards' confidence, he believes Sanders will pass with flying colors. The stage is set for one of the most compelling storylines in recent NFL history. A quarterback who was passed over due to factors beyond his control, landing with a franchise desperate for hope in a division that should crush his dreams before they even begin. Either Edwards is about to look like a genius, or he's setting up Sanders for one of the most spectacular failures in recent memory. There's no middle ground here, no room for moral victories, or he showed promise. Evaluation. Sanders will either prove that NFL teams made a massive mistake in the draft, or he'll confirm that the concerns about him were justified all along. Edwards has made his choice, has staked his reputation on a prediction that could define both Sanders' career and Cleveland's future. The question now is whether Sanders can live up to the faith that Edwards has placed in him. What do you think? Is Herm Edwards a prophet? Or is he about to eat his words? Drop your prediction in the comments below. I read every single one and respond to as many as I can. And if you want to see more insider analysis like this, make sure you're subscribed, because next week, I'm breaking down the 3 biggest quarterback controversies heading into training camp. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.